And the more love you give your children, and you do that through what? Conscious effort and presence. The conscious effort of being present is going to bring that connection. And once that connection happens, you're going to give them more love. And when you give more love, what happens? Hey guys, welcome back to Q&As with Carlos Reyes. Today, I am going to be reaching out to Miss Daniela Sanchez, aka the Disposition Queen. Her and her husband took their company, and a lot of it had to do with not only like his vision, but her efforts in the back end. They took their company from, making, 30, 40, 50K a month to anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 a month. So absolutely love these people, some of the most amazing people I've ever met, and I can't wait to see what she has in store for me. This is Q&As with Carlos Reyes, so it could be a real estate question, it can be a life question, it can be anything, okay? Let's get her on the phone and see what she has going on. Here we go.
Hi, Carlos.
Hey.
Hi.
What are you up to?
Oh, just here at home with the family.
I love it. I love it. So I'm doing a new thing here. My media team said, "Hey, we should do this," and I'm loving this thing, by the way. Like this Q&A with Q&As with Carlos Reyes, where like I just call random people and they have a question for me, and then we just break it down. And I think it's gonna serve a lot of people. And today you drew one of the numbers.
Yes.
But I introduced you already. I told them how much of a badass you are and what you and Art been able to do. And I just want to say that I love you. I love Art. I love your children. And I can't wait to see what 2022 has in store for everybody.
Yes, definitely. We're going to kill it.
Yeah. All right. So what's going on, Miss Daniela, a.k.a. Dispo Queen?
So my biggest question for you was how do you balance, your work life and your home life? I feel like that's a big struggle for me as a new entrepreneur, just trying to deal with them both, trying to give both the equal amount of attention. So I feel like you're the perfect person to ask.
Daniela, by the way, that's one of the most difficult challenges for any entrepreneur out there. And let me tell you why. As entrepreneurs, we can build anything. We can build multi-million-dollar companies. We can bring an idea to life. Like we can do anything, right? We're creators, and we're just like favored people in some ways because we have so much faith in everything that we do. But one of the most common challenges is our home life. And let me just say this: there's an old statistic out there about divorce rates. It's like, divorce rates in America is 50%. Well, I think divorce rates in the entrepreneur world are probably like 75 to 80%.
Yeah, I definitely felt that.
And then you and Art, you guys are business partners. You're partners, like married. Mm-hmm. You have children. So, oh my goodness, right? So this is what I'll say with that. For me, it took me over 7 years to start figuring this out, by the way. I'm not even going to sit here and say, I got it all figured out. No, but I'll tell you what. Some things that I've changed at home, right? Because there's really no such thing as balance. And let me tell you why. There is no such thing as balance. Mm-hmm. You go to work for 8 to 10 hours in a day. You come home, you see your children. You see your children in the morning, maybe before you either take them to school or before you go to work, and then you come home, and it's like you get to see them for like 4 hours because they got to go to bed at 9, 10 at night or whatever, whatever, right? So yep, that's not much of a balance if you really add up and compound the time that you spend at work and the time that you get to see and play with your children and be present with them. I mean, it's not even going to be close. Mm-hmm. So what do we do that most people aren't willing to do? When we're home, what should we do when we're home with the little bit of time that we have with our children? What should we do?
Focus all our time on them when we're actually present. Be more present. We're present at work, anything arises at work, where we jump right on it. So maybe that's just the answer.
Let's be honest. When we're at work, the type of people that you and Art and myself are, and don't get me wrong, I'll die for my children right now. But when I'm in flow mode and I'm in go mode, I'm not thinking about my baby girls. I'm not thinking about my wife. I'm thinking of conquering. I'm thinking of dominating. You get what I'm saying? Let's be honest here.
Yep.
Right? So what gives us the right to be at home and be thinking about work? When we're at work, we're not really thinking about home. You see how that's so not correct?
Yeah.
It's unfair. Right? So when you are home, okay, and I call this offsetting. Offsetting is, you know what? When I'm home, I'm going to be fully present with my babies. All right? Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Mentally and emotionally. And you know what? I'll be honest with you too. Well, I should stop saying that because, it's like, oh, well, when aren't you honest with me? But, right? Let me just say this. Women, it's so much easier for women to be able to do this, to actually be present, because you guys have your emotional connection is so much more amplified than ours as men. So it's easier for you to be grounded, and it's easier for you to be present with your children way more than your husband or me or any other dude, any other, right? Any father, entrepreneur, husband. So it comes down to effort, conscious effort. That's what I had to do. I had to, and I told Art this the other day. I was like, Art, you want your son to meet you where you are, man. You're like 29, 30 years old. You want your son, who's in, what is he, 12, 14? How old is your son?
12.
Yeah.
He's turning 12.
You want your 12-year-old to be a 30-year-old? That's where you want? No, brother. I said, hey, man, as adults, we need to be children. We stop playing the game. We stop the curiosity. You need to go down on his level, become his friend, and be a child with him. And that's how you're going to be more present than ever. I don't care if you got to buy a PS5. I don't care if you got to get some membership to go to Dave & Buster's. Where I don't care what you got to do in order for you to build that connection with your children. But you have to consciously make the effort to build those connections. And once there's connection with your children and your significant other, right, there's going to be love. And the more love you give your children, and you do that through what? Conscious effort and presence. The conscious effort of being present is going to bring that connection. And once that connection happens, you're going to give them more love. And when you give more love, what happens?
Happiness.
You get more love. You become happier. You get more joy. You get more presence. You get more grounding. Your home becomes your sanctuary. Your home becomes your go-to. You know how we go to Sedona to ground, spend some time in nature? Your home becomes the recharging station.
That's powerful.
But it takes conscious effort. Remember that. You think I let me just say this. I haven't bought a PlayStation since the PS1, and that was probably either 2000, early 2000s. I bought a PS5 a few months ago just so I can play a game called Sackboy with my 9-year-old daughter. That was the beginning of our connection. Now we're more connected than ever, and it started with conscious effort on my behalf. I don't want to be a parent to my babies. I want to be a child just like them. You know what happens children, what happens when they're playing something and you take them away from playing whatever they were playing? What do?
They cry. They get upset.
They cry. They get upset. You know what I tell my babies now? I said, hey, just because you're not going to be riding your truck, baby, come on, let's go play something else. I said, don't ever stop playing. Don't ever stop. So I'm training my baby now. I take her off the swing, she starts crying, and then I take her to her dollhouse, she starts playing again, and I'm you don't know, I'm pouring so much into my children, but I could only do that by making a conscious effort to be present. And once I make that conscious effort to be present, I give them more love, And when I give them more love, I receive more love. And it's just an infinity of back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's offsetting. When you're there, you are there. Nothing else matters. Because guess what? We can make more money. We can build more businesses. We can never make more time with our children. If that doesn't hit you like a pile of bricks, I don't know what will.
Yeah, and that's where I got to that question, because I feel like right now I'm trying to find that balance, especially as a mom.
There is no balance.
I feel like
when you get home, you do exactly what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else even matters at that point. It's unfair to your children because guess what? Right now, our children want us involved. When we're older, we're going to want our children involved, and they're going to be living their lives, and they're not even, you didn't plant the seed of connection with them. So guess what they're going to do as adults?
They're going to do
running around doing their own thing. Well, you weren't there. You were too busy working. I always say this, right? How do children spell love? Time. They don't care how much money you make. They don't care what you drive. They don't care what you wear. All they care about is your time with them. So do me a huge favor. Connection, conscious effort of being present, give love, receive more love. And when you take your family vacations, that's part of offsetting too. You dedicate everything you have to your babies. And now, if you're in art, that's a whole different scenario. Like we're talking about your children right now, collectively. You and art also need to establish, these protocols where, hey, baby, you and I, we take a trip of just me and you once every quarter for 5 days. Like, how you guys went to Barbados?
It's game changing because honestly, Art and I had never done that. Any trip we have taken,
and
was with
y'all are more
friends
connected and more loved than ever, right?
Oh my God. I look back and I just get butterflies just thinking of our time out there. And it was doing nothing, just sitting in a pool.
Cellular impressions.
It was just the connection.
Cellular impressions. I learned that from Tanya. She's like, you make a cellular impression. Like, I bet you I can say something that Art said during that trip that caused an emotion, a beautiful emotion, and I can trigger that emotion. Tell me something Art did or say or said when you guys were in Barbados that just caused you to be overwhelmed with love and gratitude and joy. Like, what is something he said?
When he told me how much he appreciates me, he tells me that on the daily, but just being out there, just him looking into my soul pretty much and telling me that, it hit on a different level. There was no distractions around, just him and I. So I felt that. I believed it. I do believe it, and it was amazing. So
and now now every time that you go back and remember, hey babe, I just want to let you know that, man, I appreciate you so much. You get to feel all those emotions all over again, right? And you just feel great.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Daniela, I just want to say I love you, and I hope that serves you, and I hope that you make the conscious effort, because guess what? You, Daniela Sanchez, are the leader of your home. Like, you really are. Like, you might not be the financial head of household, right? Because technically it's always the dude, right? But you definitely are the head of household. You are the mental and spiritual and physical head of your household. So it starts and it ends with you as the mother and the wife.
Yep, it takes a strong woman to be with a strong man, and I know Vanessa's
I want you guys to be spending some time together. So she's helped me out so much. So you guys need, man, come on now. You guys need. I think you guys have. Do you guys have each other's phone number? I think you do, right?
I believe we do. Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I just want to say, when you hang up this phone, be present with your children. At least until 9, 10 o'clock, and then you go do your own thing, after they're ready to go. But just give them everything you have for a few hours. That's not too much of a sacrifice. Nope,
not at all. Well, thank you so much for your time, Carlos. I really appreciate you and your advice.
Thank you so much. God bless you, okay? I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that was completely out of left field, but you know what? Like I said, man, I love that side of life. So... You know what? If you have any questions that are similar to that, do me a huge favor. Get a hold of us, right? We want your comments. We want your questions down here. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Share this with somebody who probably needs to hear this and Man, oh man, this is the beginning of something beautiful. Thanks for sticking around. Until the next episode, I'll talk to you soon.